Hello, let's review your MT3 LT6 affirmation. When you redo this affirmation, you will show your work. You will do it in an organized fashion, and you will submit it to me. If you do not do that, I'm not going to open anything else up for you. You must show your work and submit it to me. On the first question, we want to use a quadratic formula. In order to use a quadratic formula, the equation must be equal to 0. So you should have subtracted 1 from both sides. And you'll get 6x squared plus 8x minus 1 equals 0. In this problem, A is 6, B is 8, and C is negative 1. So now we know x equals, by our quadratic formula, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now let's just simplify. We're just going to substitute our numbers in. So b is 8, so we have negative 8 plus or minus 8 squared minus 4 times 6 times negative 1 all over 2 times 6. Now let's simplify. More. Negative 8 plus or minus 8 squared is 64. A negative times a negative is a positive, so 4 times 6 times 1, well, that's 24. All over 2 times 6 is 12. So we get negative 8 plus or minus 64 plus 24 is 90 all over 12. At this point, we're going to use our calculator because it says round to the nearest hundredth. So we're going to say negative 8 plus the square root of 90 divided by 12. Except I just noticed I can't add, can I? That's not 90. That's 88. 4 plus 4 is 8. So negative 8 plus the square root of 88 divided by 12. So go negative 8 plus the square root of 88. And I'll divide that whole answer. Whoops. And then I'll take that answer and I'll divide it by 12. What the heck's going on there? Try that again. It doesn't like that. Oh, I got a decimal in there, that's why. There we go. Then I'll divide that by 12. Geez, not having very good luck this morning. So negative 8 plus the square root of 88, and I'll divide that by 12. Put that in parentheses. So you get 0.12. And then I'll do negative 8 minus the square root of 88. And you get negative 1.45. And that's your answer. That's what you had to do in a problem like this. Showing your work in an organized fashion. Okay, let's take a look at another question here. It says a ball is thrown from an initial height of 2 feet with initial upward velocity of 35 feet per second. The ball's height, h, after t seconds is given by this formula. H equals 2 plus 35t minus 16t squared. Find all the values of t for which the ball's height is 20 feet. In other words, h is 20 then, isn't it? Round our answer to the nearest hundredth. If there's one answer separated with using the or. So we're going to say 20 equals 2 plus 35t minus 16t squared. Well, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to write that in standard form. So I'm going to say 20 equals negative 16t squared plus 35t plus 2. Then what we're going to do, we're going to subtract 20 from both sides. So 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 35t minus 18. Now, we have a quadratic equation, don't we? A is negative 16, B is 35, and C is negative 18. So in this case, we're going to say, instead of x equals, t equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now let's substitute in what we know. So t equals the opposite of 35 plus or minus, we're going to go 35 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times negative 18 all over 2 times negative 16. So we'll simplify. So we're going to say t equals, right over here so we have a little bit more room, negative 35 plus or minus, well, 35 squared. Let's use the calculator for that. So that's 1225. A negative times a negative times a negative is negative. So let's take 4 times 16 times 18. We get 512. All over negative 32. Simplify a little bit more, negative 35 plus or minus, we're going to take 1225 minus 512. We get 713. And we'll divide by negative 32. So now let's find this. Negative 35 plus the square root of 713. We'll divide that by negative 12. And we get 0.69. Let's do the negative. So negative 35 minus the square root of 713 divided by negative 12 is 5.14. And from your assignment, from your seminar, what that means is the ball hits that height on the way up and then on the way down. Okay, last question. I want you to find the rate of change. Well, the rate of change is kind of like slope, isn't it? Rate of change from your seminar is f of x sub 2 minus f of x sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Well, we're supposed to find the rate of change from 5 to 7. So I'm going to make a little table here. So when x is 5, your y value is negative 5. When x is 7, our y value is negative 1. So what happens is we're looking at this rate of change from 5 to 7. I want to find the average rate of change. Looks like it's going up, isn't it? So now let's substitute those in. Remember, your y value is actually f of x, isn't it? So maybe I should have put f of x to have it correspond with the equation. So say negative 1 minus a negative 5 all over 7 minus 5. Well, negative 1 minus a negative 5, that's positive 4. All over 7 minus 5 is 2. So your rate of change is 2. I think you had 4 if I remember right. So I'm thinking you just forgot to divide by your x values, the change in x. Okay, the redo is open for you. Show your work.